Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times. Welcome to my channel, welcome to a bit of League of Legends. Today is actually going to be Sunday when I put this video up, I think, at least. But I was kind of not feeling like doing anything too cerebral right now because I did just get back from vacation, and honestly, I do try to do a little bit of looking stuff up, studying, and preparing when I'm doing a Don't Starve video, so I haven't really had time to do that yet since I did just get back, and that does mean that this is going to be just sort of a derpy LoL match. Now this is ranked, and this is actually a qualifier. I got kicked down to Silver 3, and then immediately got kicked back up into Silver 2, so I don't think it really makes a difference. But anyway, yeah, I'm still pretty bad at this game, playing as Arcade Sona over here. Going to be playing support and doing okay at it. It's a character that I'm actually really familiar with. I actually really like the sustain support, so like Soraka, Sona, and Nami are all really my style of support character, where you can really keep in lane and you can keep your team alive. And then she's also got the advantage of those like really clutch ults. Honestly, I think Nami is also really good, but I do like the buffs that they've made to Sona. They did a supposed rework. I think a lot of it is flat up buffs, but we are against a Gragas over here, so that could potentially backfire since he does actually have that real game-changing ult as well. It's just that he doesn't have as much laning presence in the same way that I do, because he can only sustain himself, and frankly he doesn't do it as well as I do. So once I hit level 2, I'll be able to start healing myself, and that's going to really result in some good stuff happening up here, which they're not really going to be able to counter. They just can't deal with that kind of thing, especially because our Lucian is going to be pretty good at that sort of poke. I managed to juke that belly flop, which I thought was a pretty good juke, but yeah, Gragas over here, support. I don't really agree with that pick. I don't think Gragas actually is a competent support, and it's not just that he's not a meta pick, it's just that he doesn't offer much in the support lane. He's gonna get chipped down, as you can see, and he can't really do anything to stop that from happening. Top lane, we've got a Master Yi against a Rengar. Master Yi is going to start dominating him early game, but thankfully our Vi is in the jungle doing a very good job of keeping him back in the game, and that's going to sort of help us. Mid, we've got Lux versus Karthus. That's going to basically be the battle of the bullshit ults coming from across the map and smoting us or whatever. Mostly Karthus is going to screw me over, and you'll see why later. But at this point in time, basically, we're just trying to win our lanes, focus on that. They've got a Warwick in the jungle, so we can afford to be fairly aggressive early on, because Warwick can't really gank until he hits 6, at least not very effectively, unless his lane has hard crowd control, which they don't. So they can't really do much to us early game here. As far as jungle ganks go. Now, Vi is going to focus almost exclusively on sort of the top lane and keeping him in the game. So Rengar got a kill thanks to Vi showing up there. We got that assist gold, which is going to help mitigate that first blood. And, I mean, Gragas over here gets chunked really freaking hard. If I had my abilities up, we could have really gotten that, but we did force heal off of them. Really good start for us there, so we're up all our summoner spells. If they really try to hard engage again, we can kill them easily. I am low on mana, but like it doesn't really matter. I go in for a quick poke there, and Lucian is very good at poking, and we're both near full health. They're like low, and Lucian still has his heal, if I recall. Or maybe it's a... yeah, no, he did take heal, so he isn't going to be able to use that. Or he will be able to use that if he has to, if they dive us, and we get in that kind of fight, but... You know, Sona is just so strong in this laning phase against someone like Gragas. She's a little bit worse against someone who can effectively ult in like Leona, where that sort of lane sustain doesn't mean as much. But even then, like the fact that she's got that mini shield means that you can throw out surprising amounts of sustain. And then that power chord there means that Gragas just got chunked for a huge amount of his health. And there's not a whole lot that Gragas can lend to this lane, which I'm really sort of finding is weird, because I've been seeing a lot more Gragases, but they haven't been very good. So anyway, we'll be back to our normal schedule this week, preferably. You never know, something might happen. I might get hit by like a giant bus or something, but you know, barring extreme circumstances like that, we're just basically going to be doing Don't Starve next Sunday. It's just that today I kind of don't have my normal sort of stuff prepared for it yet. So yeah, I'll try and do an analysis style thing of this game, I think, maybe, but you know, my silver thoughts, which are inevitably like low, but I probably should have used my I can't even remember the name of Sona's abilities, but my Q there before I used that power chord so that I could have really chunked Gragas there for a lot of damage if I had done that. And he's out of mana anyway, so he can't really sustain up properly anyhow. So, yeah, I'm getting just on the cusp of the range there. I think that there's a slight range adjustment compared to her old Q, but maybe not. It's hard to say. I don't think there is, actually, but I think I'm just bad. Due to the fact that they picked... that we've got Rengar top lane because he could have like ganked us ganked for us so many times earlier on, but at this point in time we're so far pushed forward that no one can gank. Warwick should be hitting 6 or should be 6 about now, so we do have to start worrying about that. And Lucian is going to thankfully use his warding trinket. We're just basically going to split warding trinkets. We're just going to alternate back and forth. That one I actually did do the trade correctly. I tried to use the reduced damage on Gragas before he could get a chance to hit me with that barrel, so it dropped the damage that I would have taken from it, which is a very nice thing indeed. But at this point in time, we're basically out of mana. We've got a lot of money kicking around. This would be a good time for us both to go back, but we don't really want to miss out on this lane gold, especially when our opponents, who've been hanging out with such low health for so long, have been hanging out here. Gragas, as you can see, he can't even use his relic shield, so that's how sort of screwed they've been. And at this point in time, I decide, you know, Gragas has to go back now. I don't think he's going to stick around. I don't think that there's any reason for him to stay. So I'm going to actually go back and do my first buy here, which is going to be a pretty big buy right off the bat, but... you know, it's been pretty good so far in lane. Lucian, I think, has been out-CSing them. We've been pushing them back to the tower. And I've got enough money to get quite a bit of stuff because I chose the smarter sort of purchase for this in this particular case. Gragas should not have bought the Relic Shield because he can't get in there to get the last hits that you need to be able to do to use the Relic Shield effectively. So what was happening is that he's getting zoned away from the minions, and he can't last hit, so he can't donate the money through the Relic Shield, and that's sort of been what's been going on in their lane. So I've been making a lot more income than he has, and it's going to really start to show later on when I'm able to more effectively support my team. But until then, you know, we're doing pretty well here. Lucian is thinking about going back. He has a lot of money as well, but he's going to see that I'm going to hang around a little bit, and he's going to hang around a little bit longer. I don't think he really needed to, but, you know, whatever. Now, I'm going to get screwed out of some levels in just a little bit here, because I think this is when I get, like, freaking owned because of my own idiocy. It's not when I'm stepping on the traps, but I think when Lucian sort of goes back, I get sort of screwed out of some minions or EXP or whatever, because I remember staying at level 5 for quite some time here. Now, generally speaking, because of our jungle, top lane has been sort of recovering and is, I think, now officially sort of ahead. We've got 3 kills to that one that Yi had. The fact that was first blood for them is pretty bad, but that's not something that we can't recover from or anything like that. Now, on the other hand, over here, this is going to be even worse. He manages to belly flop into a minion, which saves me from getting the brunt of whatever it is he's trying here. I managed to get that hit on him. The problem is that he's going to knock me back into his barrel, which is kind of bullshit, but, you know, I still managed to make it under my tower safely enough, so it's not going to be a huge deal, but it's just that I'm missing out on all that lane experience that could have brought me up to level 6, which, you know, kind of sucks, but whatever. Vi heading down here, and this is going to really sort of suck for me, but I'm getting chipped down is the thing, and this is where this is that ult combo. Like, it was fine when it was just Karthus' ult, it would have been fine if it was just Caitlyn's ult, but, like, they just sort of both stacked their ults, and I'm just like, well, shit. And then it sort of instantly killed me. Fortunately, they are going to kill Gragas here in retribution. Unfortunately, they do blow Flash and the ult on Vi. If they had done that correctly, they could have gotten both of them pretty easily, but unfortunately they don't. So, yeah, we do manage to sort of pull a recovery off that and even it out a little bit, but we're going to actually get completely demolished later in the game, and it's going to be brilliant. But until then, we've got Lucian. He's getting chipped out of the lane a little bit. Caitlyn is better at the poke wars than Lucian is if Lucian doesn't have his support with him, because he just has such short range now, especially now. It was pretty bad before when it was just like 550. Now it's 500. He's very short range now, but now that I'm here, he can sort of recover his health a little bit. I'm able to sort of chip away at them, so it becomes much more equitable. So it becomes much better for us. Warwick sort of just runs in, uses his ult, and then someone dies. That's sort of how things work. Not sure what Lux was doing up top lane, but she was, so not too worried about that fact. But it does mean that we've got a little bit of time here. This is going to be a great moment for us. I've got my ult now. I wait for the lineup, and I managed to get both of them. Great shot on my part, if I do have to say so myself. We are going to go chase after Caitlyn, and we are actually going to kill her. I do blow my flash because I'm like, okay, am I going to be able to get her? And I saw that Lucian actually had the attack animation, so I stopped attacking and just ran away again. But I was kind of hoping that I would soak the tower hits for him, because obviously, you know, if he got shot a couple times, or if she just did like a Q on him and he took those tower hits, he might very well have died. So that's just something that he should have been a little bit more worried about, I suppose, but maybe not. Anyway, I'm able to push over this tower here because of a good gank there from like the entire team. Karthus gets piled on and dies, and I'm not able to take that tower quite yet, but I've done quite a number on it a couple of times here, and like that Lux getting a couple of good kills is going to make her so strong. I mean, Lux is one of those characters that just really scales up in power and can really explode people. She's going to get completely demolished by everybody else in Retribution, but, you know, that's sort of the way of things here. It's a little bit back and forth this game. Well, no, it's not really that back and forth. We're still ahead. We're doing well here. Our Lucian is the one who's getting some kills, and, I mean, what more can you really ask for? So, Ruby Sightstone, it'll let me start really spamming wards. I'm not too worried about de-warding because we haven't been getting ganks coming down to our lane. That's because we've been pushing them so hard into their tower, so we've had no real reason to do that. So, at this point in time, I'm just more concerned about keeping our own vision good and making sure that we don't have to worry too much about them just coming in, rolling through us with a Warwick ult or whatever. But you're going to see actually a pretty clever gank from him pretty soon, I think. Yeah, it looks like it's coming up here, and it's going to really just suck, but, you know, it's not going to be, like, crippling or anything like that. I figured that I was going to eat a Caitlyn Q there, so I actually threw out that intentionally, but, you know, it's hard to predict which of these abilities you're going to need from Sona, so I think the problem here is that we're going to end up a little bit more bunched up than we really should be for this situation. But you can see down here, we got Vi coming in, but the problem is that I moved to sort of do something, and then suddenly a Warwick comes out of their bush, just ults, instantly kills me. So, at this point in time, they managed to clean us up completely. I don't know why he jumped on me, but it worked out well enough in the end. I think he was worried that I would counter ult, and he would have been interrupted and lose his ult, so that is definitely a concern. But we go 3 for nothing on that one, which is really bad. On the plus side, though, that is, you know, his ult, so gives us a little bit of breathing room before he's able to do anything, and what they decide to do off of that wipe is go for Dragon, and you're going to see some lovely stuff coming out here in just a second here. So we've got Vision of it due to Lucent Singularity, I think that's what that one's called, and Lux just manages to get that, like Warwick fails to smite it, so we get it. Which, yeah, no, that's absolutely brilliant for our team. It's really weird that he didn't manage to smite that in time, especially because he knew Lux was hanging around. He should have known she was going to go for that steal, but oh well. Anyway, we know their support has gone either somewhere weird or something, so we just like jump right freaking on top of Caitlyn there. Just managed to kill her very quickly. Lucian has good damage at this point in time. He's got a whatever the heck that item that gives you extra attack damage on every cast is, but I never remember items names in this game, especially ones I don't usually buy, but I'm pretty sure it was like some sort of weird little... I can't remember. I know how it's made, I know about how much it costs like 1,200, but I don't remember the names of items. So, yeah, he's dealing a lot of burst damage, so it managed to tear down her health very quickly. She couldn't escape, so it worked out in the end. Gragas up here. I'm going to start working him down with my Q and my auto attacks. Lucian is going to add to that. I'm just trying to zone him out of the experience range here. And I've just sort of chunked him down to half health there, basically, and that's going to really be a nice thing. We don't know where anyone on the other team is, so we've been forced to back a little bit. Yi, we see, is top lane, and Karthus is mid lane, so what we're actually going to do is swing back around, try and get Karthus to see if we can get him in a quick gank. But at this point, I'm pretty sure actually I did just walk in front of a ward there, so I think Karthus might have known that we were coming. The problem also is that Lux is pushing the lane out when we're coming up there, so, you know, not a whole lot that we could have really done about that one, but... oh well. Take pretty much no damage from the tower anyway. Now, the problem here is going to be that, like, both teams have pretty good long-range poke here, so neither of us is going to be able to draw an advantage. And we're just going to end up derping around here doing nothing for quite some time. I'm going to be able to sustain our line back up a little bit, but I feel like their poke is just a little bit stronger than ours. They could have initiated off like that Karthus wall or something, but it would have been very dangerous for us. We don't know where Master Yi is, so it could be a 5-man team here. We do realize, though, that Warwick is still bottom lane, so it's obviously not their entire team. At this point in time, though, like, it's just sort of a messy back and forth, nothing really happening. It would be nice if Rengar could push the lane faster so he could take that tower, because he's supposed to actually be good at pushing towers, it's just that he's not really doing it. And they're perfectly happy defending against our pushing here, so nothing really is going to get happening here. Unfortunately, they decide to initiate to stop us from getting in on these guys. I managed to get 2 of them in an ults, which is going to help. I managed to, like, slow Master Yi down. So he gets killed pretty effectively. So we go for one, but we lose that tower, and unfortunately I'm the one who killed Yi. So, not really great. Would have been nice if Lux had sort of not died there, but we do take, actually it's perfectly even split because we also take their tower, so works out okay, Rengar sort of moves into the fight and is going to be able to help out a bit there, but unfortunately, like, our team is just also going to lose Lucian, so, and he's missing that. He will actually kill her though, so it's not really a big deal. Yeah. Warwick's still on the loose, and that's going to force Vi back, so she can't really fight Karthus and Warwick at the same time, even with Rengar there, but that's not going to be a huge problem. I'm just down here, bottom lane, making sure that our lanes push properly. I don't want them getting another tower all that easily, so that's what I'm doing. I do get the big one, yay! But yeah, it would be nice if we could actually take one of their towers, but they always seem to have someone still up after a big fight, so does make that a little bit problematic. Yi is going to chop down that tower incredibly quickly. There's not a whole lot we can do about that particular fact. But I am going to ward Dragon. I do figure that that ward should cover the spawn timer of it. And I put it around the corner there because if they had a pink ward, I didn't want them to be able to see it from there. Yeah, we're able to sort of lose top lane but not really have to worry about it too much. It just means that we're pretty much even on turrets. Gragas once again sort of runs at me, but isn't really going to accomplish anything. Sona, with that speed boost, just moves barely out of his reach. At this point in time, they're getting ready to do Dragon, because they also knew that it was spawning soon. So, like, I'm just basically in a posturing war. I want to make it seem like we can sort of contest this, but, like, it's not spawned yet, let's just say that. We've still got, like, I think a minute, or something like that. Now, here's where my team, I think, is, like, really derping, because I mean, they should not be prioritizing blue over our middle tower. Like, this is just stupid. But, you know, they've decided to do what they've decided to do, so we lose middle tower for free. But Lux got her blue. Actually, she didn't. Someone else must have got it. Rengar must have it. I don't really know. All I know is that was a bad call for whoever made that call, but yeah, we're back to that poking war. We need to get ready to push them back so that we can do Dragon, or get Dragon from them, but, like, we're a little bit disorganized. Here you can see them getting ready to do it. They know when it's coming up, so we're going to start heading down there, or I'm going to start heading down there, and I want to sort of get into that posturing, but, I mean, they've got plenty of people down here that can sort of fight, and, like, our team's pretty slow to respond, especially Rengar, who sort of was elsewhere at the time. Do manage to get some hits on Karthus, though, but, and I do manage to slow Gragas, which is going to be quite good for us. Lucian gonna have to flash for the kill, which is unfortunate, but, you know, it happens. We also win the fight over here, clean that up nicely. Vi, however, is going to get killed by Karthus, just because I think she's standing in a circle, which is kind of awful, but I think the problem was that she was punching Dragon at the time. I don't even know if anyone got it in the end, but we've managed to get a position here where we can start taking towers off of this, and I'm going to start taking this tower while they take 2 mid towers. Just drive straight through them, because we basically killed them all. And I'm going to take this one, and the reason I chose this one was I kind of figured, okay, well, I'm not actually going to be too worried about them taking 2 mid towers. They can do that very easily, especially with Rengar and Lucian with their good ability to take out towers. They're both very strong at taking out towers, and I should be able to take this one here, I figured. So I get a little bit of help from Lucian. I would have been able to kill it anyway, but I would have died to Master Yi. In fact, I'm going to die to Master Yi anyway, and you're going to just see why I hate Master Yi so much sometimes. But, like, I've got my speed boost up, I'm running away, like, and then Master Yi is just like, hi! And I'm like, oh shit. But anyway, I managed to peg him with my ult, which saves my life, but I'm going to get killed by a Caitlyn. She is, however, going to lose the duel against Lucian, so he's going to get a good double kill, which is definitely worth it from my perspective, because Lucian got 2 kills off of it, and basically we're just going to be snowballing him quite hard at this point in time. I feel like I've done a good job as the sport in general. Now, I probably could have left him be, but I figured that Caitlyn might have tried to run, do a runner there, and I think that she might have gotten away, but at any event, we're doing pretty well here. I mean, it's 19 to 12, and we're ahead on the Dragon as well, I think. But, like, this is going to be close. This is... yeah. Rengar over there, just so close. Oh my god. But, yeah, he manages to tear out of there, just barely alive. The Warwick is actually a really good duelist because of all that life sustain that he gets, especially once he gets something like a Blade of the Ruined King, and it'll really wreck whoever's trying to fight him. Fortunately for Lux, Yi didn't have his ult up there, so he didn't just run on her face and immediately kill her. But, you know, yeah, we got lots of people pinging warning mid there because, like, it's a bit dangerous. They do manage to kill Yi. I think Lux just caught him in a snare and then immediately killed him. But even with that, I don't feel like they're overly in a good position. And you can see a bunch of people starting to head mid lane, trying to push them back there. But with Lucian there as well, Lux might be able to take that out. It's just, I have to stay down here and like push this lane back out because I don't want them getting free towers for us like being lazy and letting our towers do this. If I were someone else, this would be a lot easier, but Sona will have to do because that's what I am. At least I'm not Nami. Nami is really hard to push back waves with, so I got the wave, I think, sort of moving in our favor here, but not really sure. I've not really ever been great at that, getting the lanes moving properly, but in any event, big fight breaks out. Warwick is going to ult Lucian after other ults. He's going to manage to break away here for quite some distance, poor dang killed, but Master Yi is going to get completely destroyed by Rengar, and I'm going to get into the fight. I used the wrong power chord though, but I mean, we still managed to save his life. At this point in time, I exhausted Karthus because I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to catch him, and actually he did use Ghost, so he was going to run up there pretty quickly, and I was afraid they might ult Rengar, so I just sort of ran up and used my heal on him as well, so a combination of it makes sure that Karthus isn't going to easily get a kill on him. Anyway, that was a pretty messy fight, but it ends up being in our favor. We only lost one person, they lost 2, so it could have been worse. Could have definitely been worse. I'm going to just basically try and watch the lanes, try and make sure that we're not losing out too much and we're not losing towers needlessly, but there is going to come a point where we're just derping around and there's nothing I can do to stop bottom tower from getting lost. But you can see at the very least I've got pushing in the right direction. You can see the minion lines sort of converging in the enemy's sort of general direction here. Yeah. Anyway, heading back, I can buy more things. This is a pretty good game as far as my income goes, because I have got 2 kills, which is kind of bad, but it's not terrible. So I'm able to sort of start working towards this new item. I am a little bit worried about Lux being over there, because it is pretty much 3 of them. 2 of them can just run towards her and kill her pretty much, so fortunately they are able to chase down and kill Gragas. The bad thing is that, you know, Karthus shows up, but fortunately they decided to wuss out for some reason. I'm not really sure why they made that decision there, but it was probably a good one in the end. Anyway, with that, we decide that their support is sufficient justification for us to go for Baron. Not sure I actually agree with the call, but it ends up being a good one. There's no real reason they couldn't have contended this. At this point in time, like, our bottom lane is going to get lost, and I'm sort of cognizant of that fact that Warwick is going to easily take that bottom tower out. But I don't really feel as though it's worth trying to stop him when we could get Baron, so definitely I think worthwhile what we did there. So Sona is one of those champions that I think does a good job as a support champion because she's so strong in lane, but at the same time she has that game-changing ultimate, which lets you just sort of win games. I mean, if you have been counting sort of those ults that I've managed to hit a couple people that were really quite important for their damage output, it's been a lot of my ults, which is kind of rare for me, somewhat. Because I tend to not necessarily land all those, but in any event, Dragon's up yet again. I'm going to start it off because I want Rengar to definitely come here to help me with the friggin' dragon. Lux is doing Luxy things over there, which I don't really agree with, but with Rengar, this dragon is going to be fairly easy to take out pretty quickly and is basically going to be free. With the Baron buff that we got on here, it's going to also be pretty much easy for us to just walk back into the fight afterwards, so it should be pretty easy for us. I'm amazed that they didn't dive Lux there, but I don't think they had Dragon warded, so I think they had no idea that we were doing that. Yeah, and at this point, like, it's just a bit problematic because they're so good at wave clear, and we're not necessarily the best team for diving on them. If I could get like a 5-man ult, that would be fantastic, but they aren't lining up that nicely for me, so probably not ever going to happen. I think that a 2- or 3-man ult is sufficient to justify Sona's ult as being sort of like that fight-changing ultimate. And it really just is a great ultimate. At this point in time, we detect a Warwick on the other side of the red buff, who's just sort of derping around there. I managed to start catching him, and our team is going to start running him down. He's going to jump on Vi, and that's going to really start chipping her down. I get 2 of them in the ult there. I'm pretty sure actually that I got Yi in that, but he might have had Mercury Treads or something. But in any event, we managed to tear down their team really effectively here. And yeah, they're pretty much all dead except for Master Yi. We do need our minion wave to show up so that we can take out this tower. But other than that, that was a really great fight in our advantage. That Warwick really got caught in a bad position, and that really threw his team into a bad position since he couldn't contribute much to the fight until he jumped on the wrong target. He jumped on Vi because she was in a position where she could get focused. But she's pretty tanky, so that's not really the worst person to get hit on our team. We're going to move over here and just shift over, start taking out this other tower here. And with my aura of attack bullshit, it's going to go down almost immediately. We're going to start working on this inhib a little bit, but all I want to do at this point in time is keep our team sort of in a good position, make sure that I'm stanced pretty aggressively. We do manage to piss off their entire team pretty badly here, and off they go after me again. And Master Yi, once again, using his ultimates. They're using their flashes. I'm using my ultimate. I only catch one of them, unfortunately. I thought I'd get Gragas on that as well. But they're just really going for me here. Fortunately, though, our team secretly looping around the back there. Yeah, they should really not be focusing a support like that because, I mean, once I threw that ult, I was not contributing to the fight, so that was pretty much pointless. Lots of money, lots of loot. Been doing a better job of not taking kills at this point in time, but I mean, we're just really, really far ahead at this point in time. They should, like, they could have done something good if they didn't focus me, if they really tried to jump on Lucian's face. If they had done that, then I think they might have been able to pull out a win in that particular fight, but they didn't. They instead decided, it's like, let's go really freaking hard on Sona. Which makes no sense to me. We've got 2 inhibs at this point in time. They've got really good lane push, though, with Master Yi and with Gragas and with, like, Karthus and with pretty much everybody on their team is pretty good at wave clear. Warwick is pretty good at dealing with the super creeps, even though he's not good at big waves, but, I mean, honestly, they've got plenty of tools to deal with the sort of farming aspect here. Which I'm going to help Lux with a little bit with my aura, because I'm not sure if she can one-hit kill the melee minions, but I'm making sure that she can kill them as fast as possible anyway. Baron, I wasn't sure when it was coming up. I did check. It was about 2 more minutes, but that ward would check to see if they were grouping up for Baron at any point in time before it happened, so we'd know to react in time, or react appropriately, or we'd also know if they warded it, so that would all be useful information to have a couple minutes, or a couple seconds really, before Baron started. At this point in time, I kind of wanted to go for Warwick, because he's isolated. He doesn't really have any escape, so he would have been a fairly easy kill, but our team decides not to, and in fact, it winds up being okay that we don't. Lux over here gets really focused down, and like, I really should have thrown out my ult sooner here, but I mean, they just really pile in on Lux. Warwick comes in from behind and finishes her off with an ult, which is really just a tremendous waste of resources. And we're going to pull in around the back, wipe out Warwick, and like Karthus also gets killed, so this whole situation is enough that we do pull a win out of the game. So yeah, that's the end of it. I hope you found it enjoyable, and of course, as always, I hope to see you all next time.